Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go over my initial review of the Mauser M18 rifle in 30-06. This rifle has been a lust gun of mine for a little while. I have remember seeing some of the magazines and the gun articles that were written about them as soon as they were kind of dropping in the United States. Uh, the main thing that attracted me was the price, and everything I read about them basically said that they were going to be the new Sauer 100, or at least a budget competition to that rifle. And in some ways, they say that they improved it. With the Leupold backcountry mounts and the 3 to 9 by 40 Leupold VX Freedom, it weighs in right at about 7.2 pounds. The overall length is 42 inches with a 22-inch barrel, which puts this in as a fairly compact rifle, even for being a long action based or a long action sized rifle. The One of the main things I noticed about it as I started getting it out in the woods and out to the range and whatnot is how well it carries and how well it feels. So, as somebody who doesn't really like to use slings on my rifle, they make a lot of noise, and they put you at a disadvantaged state of readiness when you're in the woods, especially some of the animal opportunities that just seem to present themselves out of nowhere. There's been a lot of times when I've been walking in the woods and wasn't really ready and didn't really know what to expect, and turn around and hey, there's a decent sized pig there, or a couple of does, or even a nice buck occasionally. So that's what's really drawing me to this rifle before I started shooting it. Very fantastic to carry. Balance is very similar to how I would say like a K98 or one of those patterns of rifles that are based off of the carbine length of the Mauser 98. They just balance really well at the action. And so if you cradle in your arm as you're carrying it, or if you hold it clamping right up where the magazine well is, it's very, very comfortable, and you can carry it for a long time like that and not get tired. Well, I believe the original models that came in did not have a threaded barrel. This one does not have a threaded barrel, and that's what leads me to believe it's one of the earlier models. The profile of the barrel is also fairly stout for what it is. I can't remember the measurement. I think it's right around 0.7, 0.6 inches at the muzzle, and it feels front heavy. But when you carry the rifle, like I said, right at about the action, right in front of the trigger guard, it balances fantastic. So this brings us to the stock design of the rifle. The rifle is fantastic to shoot. Even though it is a very lightweight polymer stock, it's not quite as cheesy as what some people have led me to believe. It's got a very nice swooped pistol grip kind of design on it. It's very good to run if you like your rifle, running your rifle in a traditional way. You can do that, but if you're used to the more modern pistol grip, thumb on the side of the rifle kind of shooting, this lends itself very well to that as well. It also features, some people say it's a goofy design, but I think it's actually very clever, is the trap door back here for the cleaning compartment. You pinch the two Mauser emblems and it comes off. And a lot of people talk about this being designed for putting a bore snake in there, putting some extra cartridges. I believe that this would be awesome if you had a real compact set of cleaning rods. You never know in the field what may cause your rifle to have an issue with the brass or an issue with pressure, such as, you may just get a stuck case in there if your rifle gets dirty, if there's moisture, something happens that where you have a case get stuck or a case rupture. Having something you could use to tap a case out and get back into the hunt is a really nice thing to have. This would go into, or you would probably need to store it properly, wrap it with some tape, put some foam in there or something to keep it from rattling around. However, in the field, that's a very nice thing to have. This brings us to the trigger. The trigger, I believe, is a polymer constructed trigger. At least that's what it advertises. This is kind of a controversial thing about the rifle as well. Between this and the Sauer 100, I believe the Sauer 100 has a metal trigger. I don't believe this is really an issue. With a good trigger, with a good standard trigger guard design, you're not really going to have any issues with it breaking. I don't see in the future. And it actually doesn't lend itself to any flexing. I know some polymer triggers, if you really pull on them, you'll get a flex. This is just the sear flexing just a little bit. But when we close the action and you pull the trigger, I don't have a pull weight gauge. Take the rifle off, safety of course. That's a very lightweight pull. This is pretty much from the factory out of box. I would have to guess it's in the 2 pound to 2.5 pound range. I really like that. I don't like a super light trigger for being in the field. I know some people can gunsmith them to the point where they're still safe. They're still a great. There's no issue with them. However, I do like to have a little bit more weight on there just in case, so I know that when I am pulling the trigger, it's going to be very consistent, and I know that I pulled the trigger. Could it be a safety thing? Maybe, maybe not, but that's just how I prefer to run my rifles. This will bring us to the action. The action is absolutely smooth. It has a little bit of that zipper kind of noise as it comes in and out. You really only notice it when you're on a bench or you're kind of just playing with it in your man cave or whatever, in your gun room. However, when you're actually running it, I don't notice that at all. It's extremely smooth. I would put it just a small margin below the Tikka rifles. Both the Tikka and the Mauser M18, I believe, are the best actions for the budget market. And even in the high-end market, if you wanted to do a build off of this action, I don't see why you wouldn't make a fantastic rifle out of these. Next thing I'll bring up is the magazines. So the M18 takes your standard Sauer 100 magazines. This one isn't 30-06, so it's a 5-round magazine. They do come in 300 Win Mag, 6.5 PRC, and some of those other cartridges, even on down to 223, which is actually pretty remarkable. But it's a very good magazine, very reliable, very sturdy. Reminds me a lot of a PMag, which I'm assuming they took a lot of inspiration from. I do also like the push button that is slightly pass flush with the stock. Prevents it from getting bumped and dropping out and having anything crazy going on like that. The barrel is a 1-in-11 twist 22-inch barrel. This particular model is not threaded. I believe all the earlier ones weren't threaded when they came in and they started production, but very quickly they went to the threaded muzzle, which is a great addition. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that, or you have nothing but potential when you can add a suppressor or a muzzle brake of some sort. But this being said, this is a very good barrel. Some people get kind of caught up over the fact that it's a 1-in-11 twist versus the standard American 1-in-10 twist. I don't believe this is such a big deal in 30-06. This barrel is perfect in 30-06 for the 165 to 180 grain range, which I believe is just about optimal for the 30-06. Anything heavier than that, if you're going really close and personal, they're fantastic. But I don't really think you're going to be getting the velocity to really make the heavier high BC bullets shine as much as they would. But that's all personal preference, and it's just what I think is best for this cartridge. I have heard some people that have tried loading the newer 190 grain AccuBond long range in a 111 twist and have had great results. However, going to some of the bullet calculators like the Burger Bullet Calculator, the JM Ballistics or JB Ballistics, they say that this will compromise the BC of that projectile a little bit. So you may want to do your research and see, would you be getting the full ballistic potential of the 190 grain, the higher BC projectile, or should you stick with something a little less trim, or maybe go down and wait to the 165 or the new 172 Spear Impact bullet that I've been playing with lately. That bullet is fantastic. It has a very good BC. It also is a little bit more price. It's also a little bit more affordable than the AccuBond long range and the other bonded bullets that are out there. This brings us to the accuracy of the rifle. Here are a couple of examples of the targets that I've shot. Some of the better targets with this rifle doing 4-shot groups when I was doing my load development. I did see quite a few like these. I'll also have pictures in the roll of other loads that I have tried. This is with the 172 Spear Impact, both of these. This was with 4350. This, I believe, was with IMR 4064. I have another target that I'm about to post with a 10-shot group and all of them landing within 2 MOA. With marketing and what's going on now, everyone is screaming the sub-MOA rifle and all of this stuff, and everybody's proving that their rifle is sub-MOA. Whatever. What I really believe this rifle is, if you're going with consistency in your loading, I'd be willing to bet it's within a 1 to 2 MOA gun. Some people would take this and just throw this in the garbage after they saw something like that or hear something like that. With me, I'm extremely impressed by that. With a slightly heavy contour barrel, free floated, but with no brake, no suppressor, a fairly low power scope, that is fantastic. That'll get you out easily to 400 or 500 yards without much of an issue on a game animal. In the future, I plan on doing some more long range shooting and actually getting some more footage of going out to that distance. But if we think about it, 2 MOA at 400 yards, you're talking about an 8-inch group, give or take. That, I don't believe, is significant enough to get you off the game animal. Your knowledge of the environmentals, the wind, the drop, and everything like that, and getting consistent with the rifle, that is going to be much more important than how big it groups. So what do I think about this rifle? This rifle is absolutely fantastic for the money. For sub $800 for a entry level bolt action firearm that will last you your lifetime, I believe this thing is going to stand the test of time as one of the better ones. I plan on taking it on a few excursions out into the woods, going after feral hogs, and hopefully this coming fall, possibly do a Colorado over-the-counter hunt for elk. And I also have a couple of other plans for this rifle. I do want to get another barrel for it, possibly. I'm in love with the 25-06 Ackley Improved. I would also love to do a load test with 757 Mauser or 757 Mauser Improved. And I also know that GRS does make their Fenner as stock for the M18, and I will definitely be picking that up to try with for precision shooting and stuff like that. And I think as the days go by, we will see more and more aftermarket accessories for this rifle. That is about the only limiting factor that it has. Out of the box, you're getting a very good rifle, and it takes Remington 700 bases, so you've already got 80 to 90% of what you could ever want as far as going a custom route with this rifle. And with that GRS stock, and I believe MDT also makes a chassis for this rifle, if you can get your hands on those and a good barrel manufacturer, I believe this will go toe-to-toe with the Tikkas. They're that good. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please like, share, and subscribe, and stay in tune for more. Thank you. Goodbye.